You know what happens when muscles throw punches at magic in a showdown of epic proportions? Yeah, you're right, MASHLE vs Sung Jinwoo happens. But will MASHLE's brawn outshine Sung Jinwoo's spooky Shadow Monarch mojo? Who will flex their way to victory? Tune in to find out. It's muscle meets magic in a battle that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Sure, MASHLE's in a magic-dominated society, but his strength is so off the charts that even the top-tier mages are scratching their heads. MASH's combat sense is like a built-in cheat code. He doesn't just swing his fists blindly, he's got a brain to match those biceps. Take his showdown with Doom, a heavyweight in the magic world. Doom's got this nifty trick of cloning himself, but MASH wasn't fooled. He played a game of whack-a-mole with the clones, figuring out which one was the real deal by weighing them. And speaking of strong, MASH isn't just tough, he's practically indestructible. He goes toe-to-toe with Domina Blowlive, who unleashes a water-based attack that leaves a gaping hole in MASH's chest. But MASH shrugs it off like it's a scratch, proving that he's not just a bag of muscles, but also has the durability of a tank. He even fought briefly with his heart ripped out. Now that's what you call dedication to a brawl. But he's got finesse too, like a weightlifter who can also do ballet. His magical physique and impeccable muscle control give him the edge in battles where others might rely solely on spells. With each fight, he's unlocking new levels of powers and showing that being a musclehead doesn't mean you can't outsmart the smartest wizards. MASH has what you might call otherworldly reflexes. This means he can react lightning fast, especially when facing off against magical attacks. Take his fight with Margaret Macaron in the Divine Visionary Selection exam arc. Margaret's sound magic moves so quickly that most students can't dodge it. But MASH, being the clever guy he is, uses the fact that sound travels faster on the ground to predict and counter her moves. Now onto MASH's superhuman speed. No, he's not zooming around like the Flash, but he's pretty darn quick. When he flexes those leg muscles of his, he can leave an after image behind, making it seem like he's in two places at once. And let's not forget his Big Bang Dash move. It's so fast that he can change his clothes in the middle of a fight without anyone noticing. But what really sets MASH apart is his special physique built for magic. Thanks to being Innocent Zero's child, MASH has a body that's practically made for handling magical powers. Innocent Zero himself wanted to absorb MASH's essence to become the ultimate human. Imagine him as the Saitama of One Punch Man, but with a twist of his own. MASH has been pumping iron so hard that he can punch through entire structures or lift sections of the ground like it's no big deal. You know, just your everyday hero stuff. He's got this cool trick called Dark Magic Dispersion. Now, while he can't shrug off magic attacks like they're nothing, he's got a nifty way of dealing with them. He casually flicks his fingers and deflecting dark magic attacks with ease. Despite being in a magic school where everyone's waving hands and chanting spells, MASH is rocking the scene with pure muscle power. He's so good at controlling his muscles, people think he's secretly a wizard. I mean, the dude can inhale to suck in stuff or exhale to spit it out like a human cannon. He can even generate tornadoes with the air pressure. Who needs spells when you can dance your way to victory? But wait, there's a twist in MASH's arsenal, weakness mode. He can go from super strong to flimsy as paper in a heartbeat. But don't be fooled, this floppy mode is where the real magic happens. He dodges attacks like a pro and bounces back with a vengeance. Now let's talk about MASH's ultimate power-up, the unlimited physical mode. It's not some fancy transformation, it's just him taking off his wrist weights. MASH becomes lightning fast, leaving after images in his wake, and his punches hit harder than ever. It's a spectacle you don't want to miss. His muscles are the real magic, and every punch is a showstopper. Who needs wands and spells when you've got muscles that can move mountains? It's a wild ride of strength, humor, and a whole lot of flexing. But before you declare a winner, let me introduce you to a being on a whole different level, like God level kind of different. Here is Sung Jinwoo, the manhwa hero from Solo Leveling. He has quite the journey from being mocked as humanity's weakest hunter to becoming an absolute powerhouse. His evolution is like going from being teased for having a weak punch to becoming a martial arts master who can knock down buildings with a flick of his finger. But before you move on, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, otherwise you might not be prepared for the fearsome dragon's attack. Just kidding, but do subscribe quickly, my Shadow Army's next target is you. By the way, Sung Jinwoo's skill set reads like a superhero's resume. First up, he's got Kandairu's Blessing, which is like having a personal health guru on speed dial. This passive skill keeps him in top shape, detoxifying him from poisons, even that extra shot of espresso, making him immune to diseases and helping him bounce back from battles. But it's not just about looking forever young, though that's a neat perk. Jinwoo's aging process takes a hiatus after he becomes the Shadow Monarch, which makes sense because who needs wrinkles when you're busy battling monarchs in another dimension? Then there's Stealth, which is like Jinwoo's invisibility cloak. He didn't get it from a magical store, he snagged it from a shady hunter named Kang Tashik. Now he can blend into the background like a master ninja, although it costs him some magic points. It's handy for sneaking up on foes or hiding from your annoying neighbor when you're out for a peaceful stroll. In the heat of battle, Jinwoo relies on his sprint skill to gain a temporary burst of speed, allowing him to outmaneuver swift opponents like Kang Tashik. This ability, fueled by mana, lets him dash through danger with ease, making him a blur of motion on the battlefield. As Jinwoo's journey progresses, he acquires Commander's Touch, a skill that grants him telekinetic control over objects. This power evolves into Ruler's Authority, which extends his influence to even manipulating people. One of Jinwoo's signature techniques is Dagger Toss, a skill that showcases his preference for daggers in combat. With precision and flair, he hurls these deadly weapons at his foes, turning each throw into a lethal strike. Over time, this skill evolves into Dagger Rush, allowing him to unleash a rapid barrage of attacks from multiple directions, leaving enemies overwhelmed and outmatched. In moments where intimidation is key, Jinwoo unleashes Bloodlust, a skill that instills fear in his opponents, reducing their stats and paralyzing them with dread. When it comes to dealing devastating blows, Jinwoo relies on critical attack, targeting vital points with surgical precision to maximize damage. This skill evolves into Mutilate, a technique powerful enough to take down formidable foes like the Ant King during intense battles. Then we have Dragon's Fear. Jinwoo channels his inner dragon and lets out a scream that freaks out everyone weaker than him nearby. Next on the list is Memory Manipulation. Jinwoo isn't just a powerhouse, he's a memory wizard. He can mess with people's memories, erase stuff, or even let them peek into his own memories. Then there's Armor Creation. Jinwoo suits up in shadowy armor, looking all heroic and ready to take on the bad guys. It's like he's got his own personal fashion line for battle gear, and guess what? This isn't some basic armor, it's top tier stuff that even confuses the big baddies for a moment. But Shadow Extraction is Jinwoo's signature move. He can pull out the shadows of defeated foes and add them to his shadow army. And Shadow Preservation lets Jinwoo turn extracted shadows into his loyal soldiers. He can summon them whenever he wants, like having a handy army stored in his shadowy backpack. What's cool is that he doesn't need mana for this, but there's a limit to how many shadows he can keep at first. As he levels up, this limit gets stretched, like upgrading from a small pouch to a giant shadow warehouse. Also, once this skill levels up, Jinwoo can see through his shadow's eyes. He uses this trick to keep tabs on multiple folks or just to hide in plain sight. Next, we've got Monarch's Domain. This skill is like giving a Super Saiyan level power to Jinwoo's Shadow Squad. When they fight near him, they get a massive 50% boost in power. This power-up doesn't cost any mana either. Plus, Jinwoo can expand his shadowy influence in a big circle around him. He unlocks this skill while taking on the Demon Castle's challenges and uses it to crush enemies like Kargalgon, turning them into his elite shadows like a boss. Last, but definitely not least, is Shadow Exchange. This nifty skill lets Jinwoo do some serious teleportation using shadows as his magical portals. He swaps places with his shadows, zooming across the world in a blink. Initially, it has a cooldown, like waiting for a cake to bake, but as Jinwoo gets better at it, the wait time shrinks. And the best part? After leveling up, Jinwoo can teleport not just himself, but others too. It's like having a Shadow Uber for instant travel. Plus, once he taps into his full Shadow Monarch powers, he can teleport wherever, whenever, without needing a Shadow Buddy to do the switcheroo. Now, imagine a scenario where Mashle and Sung Jinwoo face off. Mashle's combat instincts and reflexes would give him an edge in predicting and countering Sung Jinwoo's moves, especially in close combat situations. However, Sung Jinwoo's passive skills like Kandaru's Blessing and Immortality would nullify Mashle's attempts to weaken him with physical attacks or outsmart him with combat sense. If their powers collided directly, Mashle might initially gain some ground with his combat sense and reflexes, landing hits and dodging attacks. However, Sung Jinwoo's immunity to abnormalities and his ability to recover quickly would turn the tide. Mashle's attacks, even if powerful, wouldn't have a lasting effect due to Jinwoo's regenerative abilities and status immunity. Mashle's incredible speed and strength collide with Sung Jinwoo's formidable skills. At first, Mashle's lightning-fast movements and superhuman strength might catch Sung Jinwoo off guard. Mashle's Big Bang Dash could send shockwaves through the battlefield, while his Dark Magic Dispersion might initially deflect some of Sung Jinwoo's attacks. However, Sung Jinwoo's skills are not to be underestimated. His Bloodlust can induce fear, potentially slowing down Mashle's assault. If Mashle manages to land a hit, Sung Jinwoo's critical attack could retaliate with pinpoint accuracy, targeting vital points. Mashle's special physique built for magic might offer some resistance, but Sung Jinwoo's advanced dagger arts could exploit weaknesses. Undoubtedly, Sung Jinwoo's Dragon's Fear could turn the tide, invoking pure despair in Mashle and weakening his resolve. Even if Mashle manages to withstand the initial onslaught, Sung Jinwoo's Armor Creation could provide a defensive edge, making him more resilient against Mashle's attacks. Mashle's muscles might have a tough time against Sung Jinwoo's shadowy tricks. MASHLE could flex his way through some attacks, but Sun Jinwoo's Shadow Preservation and Monarch's Domain buffs would give him a formidable army that could outnumber and outmaneuver MASHLE. And if MASHLE tried to get tricky with weakness mode, Sun Jinwoo's Bloodlust-induced fear could throw a wrench in his plans. While MASHLE's muscles are impressive, Sun Jinwoo's Shadow Monarch abilities give him the upper hand in a clash of powers. Sun Jinwoo's array of skills, from Bloodlust-inducing fear to Shadow Extraction and Preservation, building an army of shadows, turn the tide. MASHLE's physical attacks prove ineffective against Sun Jinwoo's regenerative abilities and status immunity. Sun Jinwoo's strategic use of skills like Critical Attack and Dragon's Fear gradually wear down his opponent. Ultimately, Sun Jinwoo's Shadow Monarch abilities, including Monarch's Domain and Shadow Exchange, give him the upper hand, securing victory in this clash of titans. And if you enjoyed this thrilling clash of powers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more epic anime and manga battles. And let us know in the comments who you think would win in other matchups. Until next time, keep exploring the world of anime and manga. See you in the next video.